Right, there is an element of impulse to this one because, as you can see, I am now the proud owner of the sproutlings of some eccentrical twirlicated whiskerage. I'm really fucking happy about this. Like, this would have been a few weeks ago. I totally forgot to tell the barber that I was growing them. And I said, can you do my lip line? And he went right in. Because I'd not asked him not to. And they were longer than this at the time. I think, just slightly longer than this. No, maybe about this. Who cares? They would have been impressive by now. But, oh, sorry, dude. Oh, mate. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't, like, launch him. But I clonked him a little bit, didn't I, Buzz? So, yeah. I'm going to carry on a little bit with this, because, I feel a little bit, the only comparison is a bit speedy, a bit wired, a bit jangly. And this happened on Concerta. But again, it's like, this is why meds have been so significant, because it was just looking back when I was having these schizoid stuff that was starting to occur in around 2016-ish, but then really predominantly in 2018 and 19. Yeah, definitely. But I think the first sort of inklings of it were when I was on Concerta in like 2014. But I had been on it for about a year, and there was other factors. There was a big psychological factor that I made a lot of videos about that happened at uni that really did contribute to my fucking emotional state. It probably made the bomb go off earlier than it was going to anyway. So I don't resent any of that shit. But it was just fucking horrible shit. But it used to really bug me being out and about. And I like what I'm doing with this. I reckon I could say this to like a CBT or DBT therapist, and they'd say that's really good. They'd tell me all the names for what I'm doing. But I'm just sort of going, well, so be careful, because that uncertainty can spark off your schizoidicalness, as I call it. And the schizoidicalness is the knowledge that you can no longer interpret meaning. It's not the interpretation of that meaning. Oh, that's a fucking good analogy, Mikey. Thank you, Mikey. That wasn't actually an analogy, though, was it? Oh, yeah. That was a description. And next week, shapes. Right. Where the fuck was I before that? Whatever that fucking was. Where the fuck was I? That could set off my, the schizoidicalness. Yes, it is the knowledge of it. It is the suddenly like, I don't know if that was a weird look or not. But I know I couldn't tell if it was or not. It's horrible. So I just need to be mindful and aware, I think is probably what they would say, is that I can, in a sense, now I can just blame the drugs. But I did comment on one of the videos last night, I think it was, that like, that sketchiness and whatever, that was really, a lot of it was, in a sense, me doing their thinking. And just feeling really uneasy in the shop, and the way people look at you and think, they know that they're looking at me like there's something different about me. And just feeling really fucking horrible and like really... So I need to just be careful that doesn't, if I just let that shit happen, I would be going really schizoid, as I call it. But that's not, schizoid's the wrong word. I wish I knew that there was a common understanding of the kind of phenomena I mean, because if I ever try and describe it, people will say, no, it's paranoia. It's like, not. There's a reason it's called paranoid schizophrenia. Why is it called paranoid schizophrenia then? Mm-hmm. Sorry. I'm sorry. I love you, really. Um, so yeah, it's that kind of stop and keep it in the moment, which is again another ability that I have lacked. And going, okay, so I'm feeling sketchy, but that's normal. This happened with Concerta. There's been a big spike in your sort of, let's call it hormonal, because like I've commented before, these monoamines, as they're called, all interact with each other, and some of them are hormones and some of them are neurotransmitters and some of them are both. And it's basically it's a chemical that produces a fucking result, whether that's neurological or biological, basically. But the body makes adjustments because a lot of things have an antagonistic and agonistic effect upon each other, like acids and alkalines balance each other out. That sort of shit goes on. So the body, when it experiences an imbalance, will go, what the fuck is this? And it does some, like, you know, crisis management or whatever. And that's just, you know, that's what can happen, will happen, does happen. That's why psychotropic meds are not always effective, because people's brains can be good at spotting that and adjusting it. How dare you? You know, my abnormal is normal. My brain sort of organically exists as its abnormality is normal. It just does. That's why the sort of that was it when I was first prescribed Concerta. It had to be unlicensed because it was only supposed to be for children, and like you can tell from the information leaflet that this med is for children. By the way it speaks to you. It might make these symptoms go away, that sort of stuff. But you know, the rationale is that you've got a developing and maturing brain when you introduce the meds, and the meds give you that clarity and focus where you need it to stimulate sprouting, as they call it, and growth of neurons and development and stuff like that. Well, my brain isn't doing that anymore. It hasn't been doing that for ages. It doesn't think it needs to. What the fuck are you talking about? Grow what? I'm grown. So you can get, you know, differing responses to those meds in different people because we are all different. But I'm still very positive. I've still done lots of organisational stuff today. I'm not at all trepidatious about going out. I've kind of just not made plans because, like I said, I made plans yesterday, and then by not doing that module that I said I might be able to do, in a way that can start to make you feel that you failed. That's, you know, that is coming straight from a goal setting course that I used to run. It's about setting goals at the right level, because if you expect too much from yourself, you can feel like you failed. So sometimes setting those minimal goals that society never wants you to do, always wants you to reach for the stars. It's like, no. Walk before you can run is also another one, isn't it? That gets bandied about, and that one makes a little bit more sense to me. So yeah, it's like I'm just going to experience the day as I experience the day, because I have been being impulsively doing constructive things. So we'll just allow that to just keep developing, and hopefully that's the other thing. There is so much fucking hope on this, and I want to try and avoid all of that crap, but it is significant. It's how long have we got? Yeah, just about. When I was bawling my fucking eyes out, and I remember saying to the geezer, quite deliberately but not manipulatively, that I don't feel there's any fucking hope. No, there isn't any fucking hope. How the fuck am I going to be this? How the fuck am I going to be that when I can't do this? How the fuck am I going to be that when I can't do this? Literally, it was, you know, it was all 100 fucking % true. And I was thinking, I'm just going to say this because this is where I'm at. And I know that that's one of the questions that they ask people who are thinking of killing themselves about, you know, if someone, it's not by any means a total indicator. But if people start to talk about a sense of the future, or when someone's grown up and that sort of thing, if they can project into the future, then they're less at risk. I can't really give much of an opinion about it because suicide's a very touchy subject. But I know that's one of the questions that is asked. And I've had it asked to me manipulatively by a bloke. I know he wanted a nurse there. And so he said it quite scriptedly. He knew what to say. But I knew what to say, but I was saying it because it was fucking true. That's how bad this got. And no, it wasn't all in my head. It was like, it was just everything was falling apart around me. And I really couldn't manage anything. And I was really just, you know, crying in waiting rooms and falling apart. Fucking falling apart. Shit like that, mate. It's just really fucking unpleasant. So, you know, so much of the stuff that has been weighing on my mind is maybe time consuming or whatever, but simple enough. And just the ability to clear a huge amount of that black backlog will just make a massive difference to my sense of capability and self-esteem and hope. You know, I put as a heading to one that I shared on Facebook, this really could be life-changing. I don't want to pin that on it, but it was just literally off yesterday's performance. I was like, oh my God, if this just becomes me, this is going to suddenly become a lot more simple. And I knew straight away that everything would, you know, it's not just going to fall to place in a week, but oh my God, I'm going to start to build on something and do what you're meant to do, which is see those successes grow into bigger ones and then build on your confidence and build on your ability. And all I've been doing is doing the odd little like, yay, and for a couple of years. And have, oh yeah, I won't go into it, but you start where you are, don't you? But I'm still enjoying thinking about it and talking about it. I might even make another one, I don't know.